I'm 73 years old. That number feels heavy when I say it out loud. Not because of the wrinkles or the gray hair, not even because my knees ache when I stand up. It feels heavy because I finally understand something I should have understood decades ago. And now, there's not much time left to use it. If you're younger than me, please don't hear this as advice from an old man who thinks he knows everything. I don't. I got most things wrong. That's why I'm talking now. Because one day, sooner than you think, you might wake up and realize you traded your life for something that never loved you back. When I was young, I thought time was endless. In my 20s, I believed life hadn't even started yet. I was strong, sharp, hungry. Everyone told me I had potential, and I clung to that word like it meant I was special. I chased work, money, respect. I wanted to be seen as someone important, someone who mattered. I told myself I was doing it for my future, for my family, for security. But if I'm honest, a lot of it was ego. I liked being busy. I liked being needed. I liked the feeling of chasing something that kept moving just out of reach. My wife used to ask me to come home earlier. Not every day, just sometimes. I always said, next week will be easier. My kids would show me drawings, half-finished stories, school papers. I nodded while thinking about deadlines. I told myself I'd be more present later when things slowed down. They never did. I skipped dinners, missed birthdays. I was there physically, but my mind was always somewhere else. I remember sitting on the couch with my son, watching him play with his toy cars. He kept glancing at me, waiting for me to join. I said, just a minute. That minute turned into years. At the time, none of it felt dangerous. That's the part that scares me the most now. Nothing felt urgent. Nothing felt like a mistake. Life doesn't warn you loudly. It whispers, and if you're busy, you don't hear it. I ignored my health too. Ate whatever was quick. Slept when I could. I thought exhaustion was a badge of honor. When my chest felt tight sometimes, I brushed it off. When my doctor suggested slowing down, I smiled politely and changed nothing. Money came and went. Promotions happened. People praised my work. From the outside, it probably looked like success. But inside my house, things were quietly thinning out. My wife stopped asking me to come home early. That should have scared me, but I took it as permission to work more. My kids stopped pulling on my sleeve. They learned I wasn't really available. Years passed like that, not dramatically. Just one ordinary day after another. Then one day, my daughter didn't call me anymore. There was no big fight, no explosion, just distance. She had her own life, her own family. I told myself that's how it's supposed to be. But deep down, I knew I hadn't built a bridge strong enough for her to want to cross back. My son moved to another state. We spoke on holidays. Short conversations. Polite. Careful. I could hear the pause when I asked about his life. He shared just enough to be respectful, not enough to be close. And then my wife got sick. Nothing dramatic at first. Just tiredness. Small complaints. doctor visits that stretched longer than expected. I sat in waiting rooms staring at walls, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Fear, real fear. I remember one afternoon clearly. She was resting, and I was alone in the kitchen. The house was quiet in a way I wasn't used to. No kids, no noise, just the hum of the refrigerator and the sound of my own breathing. That's when it hit me. Not all at once, not like a movie scene, just a slow, sinking understanding. I had spent my best years preparing for a future that had already arrived, and I hadn't noticed. My wife passed away 2 years later. At the funeral, people told me I had been a good provider, a hard worker, a responsible man. I nodded and thanked them, but those words felt hollow. None of them talked about shared memories. Late-night conversations, little moments. Because there weren't many to talk about. After everyone left, I went home to an empty house. That's when the real cost showed itself. Evenings were the hardest. I'd sit in my chair and replay moments I thought were insignificant back then. A question I brushed off. A request I delayed. A hug I didn't return properly because my mind was elsewhere. Regret isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It sits with you quietly and waits until there's nothing left to distract you. The realization came one ordinary morning. I was making coffee, standing alone in my kitchen, watching the steam rise. My hands were shaking a little, not from age, from understanding. I finally saw the truth clearly. Life is not lived later. That's the lesson. Just one. Simple. Painfully simple. Later is a lie we tell ourselves to feel comfortable today. Later I'll slow down. Later I'll be present. Later I'll take care of my health. Later I'll say what matters. Later I'll live. But later has an expiration date. No one told me that the days I was rushing through were the days my life was actually happening. I thought the important part was ahead. I didn't realize I was walking past it every single day. If you're in your 20s right now, you probably think 73 is impossibly far away. I did too. If you're in your 30s or 40s, you might feel like you still have time to fix things. I believe that as well. I'm not here to tell you to quit your job or abandon your goals. I'm asking you to notice what you're trading for them. Notice who's waiting for you to look up from your phone. Notice who's stopped asking because they think you're busy. Notice how your body feels when you ignore it day after day. Don't assume the people you love will always be there, ready when you finally have time. Don't assume your health will forgive years of neglect. Don't assume you'll suddenly wake up one day and know how to live differently. You learn how to live by paying attention now. I would give anything for one ordinary evening back. One dinner without rushing. One conversation without distraction. One chance to tell my kids I was proud of them without glancing at the clock. At 73, my world is smaller, quieter. I have time now. Too much of it. And I use it to remember the life I thought I was postponing. If this story makes you uncomfortable, that's good. It should. Discomfort is often the sound of truth knocking softly. Don't wait to feel this at my age. Because one day, you might be standing alone in a quiet kitchen, holding a cup of coffee, realizing that the life you are preparing for is already behind you, and there is nothing more expensive than a lesson learned too late.